The Australian Grand Prix was an absolute banger of a season opener, full of drama, excitement, and unforgettable moments. So naturally, following that up was always going to be tough. Enter the Chinese Grand Prix, and while it may not have delivered quite the same level of chaos, it still had its moments. Plus, it was the first sprint weekend of the season. Exciting, right? Well, let's see. China has its perks as a track. It's got those long straights that invite overtakes and those tight technical corners that test driver skill. And let's not forget the passionate fans who bring the energy. First up, let's recap. As I mentioned, it was a sprint weekend, double the quali, double the potential chaos. FP1 kicked things off and, well, it was pretty calm, standard practice stuff. Drivers going wide, a few spins here and there, and McLaren showing they were stupidly quick. Sprint qualifying time. McLaren's pace looked solid, Ferrari seemed strangely better, and Mercedes were lurking. SQ1 went smoothly enough until Liam Lawson decided to repeat his Q1 exit party for the second weekend in a row. Ouch. Meanwhile, rookies like Gabby and Behrman impressed again. SQ2? Kinda dull, aside from Sainz looking oddly off the pace compared to Albon. SQ3 though? Now that was spicy. The final laps were ridiculously close and Ferrari's Hamilton just edged out McLaren for pole position. As for Norris, let's just say he got greedy on the brake. On to the sprint race. Lap 1? Pretty lively. Rookies shuffling around, Norris causing a stir and Piastri managing to overtake Max. But honestly, the rest was a snooze fest. The real highlight? Lewis Hamilton absolutely dominated. Sprint winner in Ferrari red, chef's kiss. Real qualifying time. Q1 was uneventful aside from Jack's spin, which left us wondering what on earth he was cooking. Meanwhile, the Racing Bulls looked quicker than Red Bull. Hilarious. Liam Lawson? Bro, P20 again. This is worse than Gasly's worst days. Q2 was forgettable, but Q3? Pastry smashed it. First pole position for the McLaren star. With Lando looking competitive, George Russell threatening, and Ferrari's tyre wear advantage looming, the stage was set for a solid race. Race day. Lap 1 was chaotic. Russell started strong, Norris jumped into second, and Max had a rough getaway. Alonso's brakes gave up, and Stroll held Lando back like a bodyguard on a mission, and Ferrari seemed to be stuck in limbo with a car that performs better with damage. After the pit stops, not much happened. Oscar Piastri cruised to his first win of the season, with Lando and George rounding off the podium. Solid drive, but this track desperately needs a redesign. But with that, it's time for the Chinese Grand Prix winners and losers. Winner, Oscar Piastri. After a tough outing in his home race at Melbourne, Oscar Piastri roared back into the spotlight with a stellar performance in Shanghai. The young Aussie nailed his first ever Grand Prix pole position and coolly converted it into a dominant victory. Piastri controlled the race from lights out to checkered flag, only briefly surrendering the lead during pit stops. His commanding win saw him keep teammate Lando Norris at a safe 4-second distance for most of the race. With this triumph, Piastri is now just 10 points away from Norris's championship lead. Game on. Loser. Ferrari things went from bad to worse for Ferrari in China. Charles Leclerc and Lewis Hamilton struggled in the midfield, finishing 5th and 6th, already a disappointing result. But the nightmare truly set in after the race when both were disqualified due to technical infringements. That costly mistake dropped Ferrari to 5th in the constructors' standings, now trailing Williams and a massive 61 points behind McLaren. Ouch. Winner. McLaren kept their flawless season intact with a crushing 1-2 finish in Shanghai. After narrowly missing out on a double podium in Australia, the Woking squad delivered a commanding performance this time around. Despite Lando Norris's late brake scare, McLaren's dominance sent a strong message to their rivals. They're now 21 points clear at the top of the constructors' standings and looking unstoppable. Loser, Liam Lawson. Liam Lawson's Red Bull future is hanging by a thread after another miserable weekend. The 23-year-old Kiwi qualified dead, lost in both qualifying sessions, and could only climb to 15th on race day after starting from the pit lane with a radical Red Bull setup experiment. Rumors are swirling that Lawson could be replaced before the next race in Japan, with Yuki Tsunoda seemingly poised to step in. Winner, George Russell. George Russell once again squeezed every ounce of performance out of his Mercedes. After emerging from the pit stops ahead of Norris, Russell couldn't hold him back but still secured a well-deserved podium finish. It was oh so close to P2 too. Russell believed he would have snatched second if the race had lasted just a lap or two longer. Still, back-to-back podiums for George is no small feat. Loser, Racing Bulls. The Racing Bulls endured another weekend of missed opportunities. Both Isaac Hadjar and Yuki Tsunoda delivered impressive qualifying results to start in the top 10, but a botched two-stop strategy ruined their Sunday. Tsunoda's race went from bad to worse when a bizarre front-wing failure forced him to pit for a third time, a weekend to forget. Winner, Haas, has emerged as massive winners after Ferrari's disqualifications. Even before that, they enjoyed a strong race with Esteban finishing 7th and rookie Ollie Behrman climbing to 10th. Thanks to Ferrari's misfortune, both Haas drivers gained 2 more positions, propelling the team to 7th in the constructors' standings, a massive win for the American squad. Loser, Alpine. Alpine's season has gone from bad to worse. Still the only team without a point in 2025, they left Shanghai empty-handed again. Jack Doohan had a miserable race, picking up a 10-second penalty for aggressive defending and collecting 4 penalty points in total. Meanwhile, Pierre Gasly's 11th place finish was wiped out post-race when his Alpine was found to be underweight. Alpine's rough start shows no sign of improving. Winner, Alex Albon. Alex Albon delivered a standout qualifying lap to start in the top 10 and converted that into a strong 9th place finish. With Ferrari's disqualifications, that result became 7th, a brilliant performance from the Thai driver. Albon's measured drive showed he's rising to the challenge against 4-time Grand Prix winner Carlos Sainz. Thanks to Albon's strong result and Sainz's promotion to 10th, Williams leapfrogged Ferrari in the standings, a fantastic day for the team. Loser, Fernando Alonso. Fernando Alonso's miserable start to 2025 continued in Shanghai. His race ended after just 4 laps when a brake failure forced him into retirement. After crashing out in Melbourne's opener, Alonso's 0-for-2 start leaves Aston Martin fans frustrated. Adding insult to injury, had Alonso stayed in the race, he could have benefited from Ferrari's post-race exclusions. Instead, Lance Stroll's promotion to P9 was the team's only silver lining. And finally, we have some honourable mentions for some bonus shoutouts. Charles Leclerc finally showed some fight in the race even with damage. Lance Stroll, first stint brilliance, nobody can argue that. Finally, Lando Norris, solid, clean and quick. So, that wraps up the Chinese GP, a weekend with solid results but minimal excitement. Japan's next, and let's pray for a better race. But before I go, do you think we will see big changes ahead of Japan? And do you believe that Liam Lawson could be swapped out for Yuki Tsunoda like the media are speculating? Thanks for tuning in. And remember to drop a like and be sure to subscribe. Let me know your winners and losers in the comments. See you next time.